So burn the flames. Higher, 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 and higher. So burn the flames. Never to expire. So burn the flames. Higher, 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 and higher. So burn the flames. Never to expire. Here I sit myself at my instruments. Here they sit at their instruments. And the music fills and fills, terrifies, horrifies, forever scares. The children of the night, what music we make. So burn. So burn the flames. Higher and higher. So burn the flames. Never to expire.
What's up, cyberspace cadets? It's IRATE Prostate. It's National Ice Cream Day in the United States of America, and maybe other places. I don't know. I just saw it on Twitter, and I'm pumped. And there's all this weird synchronicity type of stuff going on today. Anyway, so welcome to Ice Cream Interviews. The reason that I named the Ice Cream Interviews, I named it the Ice Cream Interviews because in a genius marketing decision, I decided to tie, some of the other shows that I've done together, like the whipped creams, and of course the cream stream, and then ice cream is a treat that I give myself, at least once a week. And to me, a treat is talking to somebody that I find fascinating, I'm very interested in. And today is no different than any other day. Today's guest is a fascinating guy. It was interesting because he was on the 58th Creem stream, and we had a ball that night. And it's the 58th ice cream. So
No kidding.
And I looked up the number 58 in numerology, and it says energy represented by the number 58 can be seen as highly focused on building for the future, yet with a playful side that tends to alleviate what would otherwise tend to be a wholly serious approach to life. The energy a numerology number represents can be thought of as the number's essence, as basic tone or vibration. As an overview, the essence of the number 58 is a composite containing the ideas of focus, pragmatism, expression of personal sense of freedom, business, conscientiousness, and adventure. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Witchcraft is cool too.
Well, it's like I'm very spiritually open-minded. when it comes to that kind of stuff. But this ain't about me. This is about you, bro.
That's where you fucked up.
Is it?
No.
Well, we can share. I think that's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. Oh, sorry, I'm knocking shit over. All right. Whew. Well, it's good to be back. Yeah, it's been a while since the Creem stream, but yeah, that was pretty cool. I enjoyed hanging out with you guys.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we can share. I was just trying to verify something, man. My OBS is acting up. You know what that means?
Yeah, man. I was giving me fits yesterday. Well, it's mostly my browser, man. What have they done to Chrome?
Oh, dude, I don't know. It is pretty, it's pretty fucked up.
They made it super heavy.
So, my little formula that I've worked up for this show, it starts out with some icebreaker questions, goes, talk about your past a little bit, and then we work up, and then we bring it full circle. I start with, something like this question: how long have you been on YouTube, and what was the main reason you decided to start YouTube?
Man. I guess Pat and I just wow, we missed it. It was last weekend while we were at VidCon. Was the 4-year anniversary of the first time we posted a video. We really just we had been doing a podcast and decided that what we would do is during the podcast, sometimes we would record them, just set a camera there, and Pat would post a video clips from the podcast on this little YouTube channel, whatever. They didn't get any views or whatever. We didn't do any promoting of it. We didn't really understand the process or how to market or anything about YouTube. He just posted some clips there, and that was the Poison the Well channel. That's why it has that weird URL, Zombie Werewolf Product, because he thought he could put Zombie Werewolf Productions in, but there wasn't enough characters, so he thought he had typed them all, and then he just hit enter and then locked us into that forever. And so that's fucking stupid. And we just decided one day we were drinking, and back at the time we watched a lot of the old atheist community videos, the 2015, 14 and 15 era, back when Armored Skeptic had 10,000 subs, and everybody was a lot smaller. I think actually at that time, Logic was around 40,000, and we watched a lot of those videos, and we got drunk and decided we have a photography studio. Why don't we just see if we can put a video in a can? And we were just wasted, and that's the first video that's on our channel. It's a shit show. We were just fucking trashed, and we were just having a good time, man. And then we decided we were going to try a few things, and we just did a couple things. We didn't really plan on anyone seeing any of this crap. We were just having a good time, and then unexpectedly, about 3 months in, we got a shout out from a channel called Fishhead Salad, and next thing I know, we've got a small audience, and we were like, all right, well, let's try doing this. And so we spent a couple years going at it pretty good. Then he decided he was going to get married and put the brakes on all that shit. But I think now we're going to get back to work. Today was a bad example of it. We're supposed to work today, but his wife was going out of town, so now he's at home watching the kid. But we have a couple of videos in the that are in out of script, one that's already been filmed and is in editing, and so hopefully we're going to get back to it, doing the things that we like to do, which is the overproduced dumb joke. So the last video we put out week before last about Armored Skeptic and Shoe on Head, that one is that's the kind of thing we want to get back to doing. That's the stuff we enjoy doing. So. All right. That actually goes back a long way. So I was a nightclub promoter, and technically, man, I was a rave promoter. I threw underground parties along the Gulf Coast, from Panama City over to New Orleans, in different videos or in different venues, and I spent that. I think I threw my first party when I was 24, and so we just kept, out. So I was throwing these parties, and that was sort of, for a while there, that was my income for about a decade. My income was throwing parties, and so during this process, actually the Fain thing, it came around when I think it was Carly Simon released You're So Vain, and my middle name is Fain. And are you muted? They're really bitching in the chat.
Oh, hello. God damn it.
Yeah.
It did it again. Anyway.
Yeah. You're muted, dude.
I'm not anymore. They can hear me. They just heard me say, God damn it.
There you go. Now I see
I
it.
thought it was okay.
You got it.
Then,
Yeah, look, he was asking me about the origin of the Fain
You're right.
thing.
Exactly.
And how much of, I don't remember.
How much of Fain is you, right?
Right.
How much
So-
of persona?
So the name kind of came from the Carly Simon thing, and really very little of the Fain character now existed then. I threw parties, so I did have some social skills. That's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're trying to get hundreds or thousands of people out to underground venues, you have to sort of have a persona. But I was a baggy pants raver, and in 2004, Hurricane Ivan hit Pensacola, and it fucking trashed the city. It trashed where I live. It trashed my offices, and I lost everything. And I tried to stay in Pensacola because I did enjoy living there. It's beautiful. But I just couldn't do it. And finally, I decided, man, I'm going to run out of money. There's, the market is killed. The job market was dead. So I was like, I need to move inland. And unfortunately, the city was so wrecked that you couldn't get a U-Haul. They were all booked up. Everybody was taking them out, and very few were being trucked back in. So they were having to drive them in caravans. So I got on a waiting list to get one, and it would cost $700. I had basically three options that I could afford to move to of a sizable city, which were Jacksonville, New Orleans, and Atlanta. I knew I did not want to be around in a hurricane area anymore. Just there were so many hurricanes. There's such a pain in the ass. And so I was like, you know what? I like Atlanta. I've always liked Atlanta. And I didn't know anyone, but I figured, you know what? I'll move to Atlanta. I went on the internet and found a room that I booked sight unseen for $300 a month. And when I left Atlanta, I had just over $1,000 left on my credit cards before they were maxed out and everything. My bank account was ripped. 700 went to the truck. I put everything in there, moved to this room in the back of this house behind the abandoned Avondale Mall in Decatur, Georgia. It's a very urban neighborhood. I was the only white person that lived there, and it was quite an adjustment coming from Pensacola there. And I didn't know anybody, but I did have a certain skill set and wanted to play on it. And that's really when the Fain character was invented. I started working on a marketing plan. And for the first 6 months that I lived in Atlanta, I would go to nightclubs. I decided I wanted to not be an underground promoter. I wanted to promote large, mainstream venues. And because basically I wanted to fuck models. That's what it was. and MySpace had just been invented, was newly out there I moved up here January 2nd, 2005. And so MySpace was just catching steam, picking up steam. And so I wrote out this character who I was like, look, these people don't know me. They know nothing about me. They know I could be anything I want.
Right.
And I sort of guessed, here's what, chicks go for is the bad boy kind of persona. And I wanted something that was, bigger than life. And I certainly wanted to get out of the ghetto. And so I started going to nightclubs, and I would just go just as, regular me, and just sit and watch the VIP section and start watching who the people were that seemed to be making things happen, who the people were that knew everyone in VIP, who the promoters were. And so once I had this all figured out, I went ahead and jumped into kind of the clothing that you see now, and just started appearing at the nightclubs and befriended those nightclub promoters that I thought were the ones who were in crowds that I wanted to be around. And within months, everybody thought I'd lived here in Atlanta for years. I was on the radio. I was in the magazines. It was awesome. And I was living a completely manufactured life. Man, it was great. And marketing. It's all about how you market yourself. And I saw social media could really change things. And by the end of 2005, I was over 15,000, had over 15,000 friends on MySpace. And, my blog was gigantic. I would get, I'd post a blog in the first hour, get 1,000 reads. That is huge for 2005. And then I started getting, befriending the bigger MySpace accounts. And yeah, so that's kind of how that went. And that's how I started my life here in Atlanta, and the Fain character. They all kind of happened at the same time.
Dude, that MySpace was like the wild, wild west, man.
It was a good time, man. It was a good time. And I had a badass profile because I'm a graphic designer and web developer by trade. And so mine was made out of wood. It was really cool looking, really cool. I spent way too much time on it. I mean, weeks I spent building that profile, but I needed to have something that would reflect this character, this outlaw persona.
Something tells me that you're kind of meticulous about the way you present your art. Did you design that Poison in the Well logo?
Yeah.
The skull?
Yeah, but I'm not as meticulous as I used to be. I used to really, involve a lot of my self-worth into my marketing. And these days, I'm doing this more for fun. Back then, it was like I had to succeed.
Because if you didn't, what would happen?
I was going to starve to death or be, lose a place to live, or the worst possible thing is have to go back to Atlanta or back to Pensacola. I did not want to. Before I left, people were telling me, why would you move to Atlanta? You're a big fish in a small pond here, but if you move to Atlanta, you're just another fish. Why would you do that? And so people were kind of placing bets that, he'll be back. He'll be back.
It depends on how you swim.
I did not want to end up being back. It's like I told them, I was like, that's fine, but a shark is a shark, no matter what size the body of water you put him in.
That's right. Isn't it Shark Week, by the way? See,
Do what?
Synchronicity, another synchronicity. I think it's Shark Week.
Is it Shark Week?
We're near Shark Week.
I know that's coming up.
Yeah. So all right. So I like asking this question because everybody answers it differently. Is there a food from your childhood that you could not stand, you hated it, and now as an adult you find you like it?
Steak.
Oh, kill it.
Steak. Yeah,
Nice.
I hated it when I was a kid. My mother would cook steak. I understand why now. And I love my mom. She's an awesome cook, but she couldn't cook steak. And so when she was going to make steaks, I would insist on macaroni and cheese with hot dog slices in it. She would have to make that for me, and then everyone else would have steak. It's just that I don't like a cooked steak. What it turns out is I like a fucking raw steak.
Right. You like it properly prepared, like rare?
Rare, or as I've discovered in the restaurants now, there is extra rare, which is blue, and it's awesome.
Nice. Let's see. All right. So who would you say the most influential person was in your childhood? What kind of kid were you?
Oh man, I was a bit of an introvert and a nerd. I got bullied a lot. I was the small kid, and I will say, there was a lot of the guys that would end up influencing my politics during the 80s as I was, in my teens. It became when I started discovering the punk rock scene, and so the 80s punk rockers, the 70s and 80s punk rockers, really made the most influence on me, and they just had this don't give a fuck mentality and everything that I was envious of. I cared so much about what people thought about me, and that's something that hasn't gone away. That I think those kind of things always haunt you. Think the insecurities you have as a child, they still haunt you, and that's part of why I've done some of the dumb things I've done. So people like Jello Biafra and the Sex Pistols and the Ramones, and then even into the more alternative side, the Cure, the Smiths, Red Hot Chili Peppers. That was really music that started giving me this. Agent Orange was one of my favorite bands.
Oh yeah.
But and that's also because I wanted to skateboard. I skated a lot, but
Corrosion.
that really started influencing me because I grew up in a small town, and and felt was riddled with so many insecurities, and I was envious of these guys who didn't give a fuck what people thought about them, what the government thought about them, and I wanted to be that. I wanted to have that, and so I'd say that they really did. And with my politics, definitely Jello Biafra. Jello Biafra started really, getting in my head. He could say a lot of fucking things in a 2-minute song, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the DKs were, they were edgy like that. I would say out of the United States punk scene, excluding, well, I guess they were West Coast, weren't they? And they came out as I think, most politically active. I think a lot of punks back then were just like saying, anarchy, just fuck it, whatever. And went with that attitude. But Biafra was a little more focused, I think, in his deal.
Yeah, he was, and Bedtime for Democracy was actually the album for me. That's when I felt like he was really speaking to me.
Sweet. All right, so do you have like a favorite Christmas like special or carol that you check out during the holidays every year?
Man, you know, I've sort of, since I lived with Pat for a long time, he did, you know, because so you couldn't get away from Home Alone, and you know, you'd have to watch that every Christmas season, and then of course, you know, everybody's favorite Christmas movie. Damn it! What's your favorite Christmas movie? What's yours? It's a Wonderful Life. Pat loves to watch that fucking thing a ton. Yeah, yeah. But I don't really have any myself. And once Pat moved out, I just didn't. I love Christmas, not necessarily the season, but the holiday itself, and being with my family, especially now that my sister's got kids and everything, and I really enjoy that. So, but I don't really have any traditions of my own. Hey, buddy. Hey, Sid. Come here. Come here. Sid's having some hard time breathing. I don't really. You had a hard time breathing? It's hot, huh? Yeah. Goodness, buddy. All right. There we go. Yeah, so I don't really have any Christmas season traditions with movies.
Okay. Well, okay. If you could go back in time and talk to little Fain at the age of 8, what would you say?
Man, that's tough. You know, you think about that, or I at least thought about that kind of thing a lot when I was younger. About, man, I would go back and give myself all this advice, and you know, really what I think. I'm not sure it would fucking matter. My life was okay. You know, there's been a lot of challenges in it, and I've got a lot ahead of me. I can tell you that. But I've had a good time. I guess I would try to tell myself not to, you know, worry so much about what everybody thinks. But I also know me, and I wouldn't listen to it. I would not listen to a fucking word that I had to say. If I went back and talked to young me, no fucking way would I listen to this old man's opinion. Like, fuck you, old man. You don't know my life.
You ain't me.
Yeah.
You ain't me. That's right. I feel you, man. You know, it's like and then that's what I kind of try to do with this interview thing is I try to ask people things that I would, you know, that goes on my head, you know, like what was high school like for you?
High school, you know, high school actually, the school I went to was a K through 12, you know, because I grew up on a small farm, you know, farming village. And so it was kindergarten through 12th grade. And in 7th grade, man, I started having some fucking issues, and my parents just, you know, with school, like just not wanting to engage with it. And so my parents made a decision that changed things a lot in my high school, which is they sent me to Rocky Bayou Christian School in Niceville, Florida. And so for 8th and 9th grade, I went to a Christian school, and what ended up happening was I was being sent to the south end of the county, you know, down Fort Walton Beach, Destin, Niceville, that area. As that's where all the students of this Christian school were. And they're mostly from, you know, wealthier families, which my family wasn't wealthy, but my dad had a a landscaping and land clearing business, and the school needed to make room for a new. They were going to put up a new gym, and so he traded services for my tuition. And so I end there with a bunch of rich kids who were rebelling against their parents.
Right.
And they come from a much more populous area. And so all of a sudden, that's how I got exposed to punk rock and a lot of the fucking problems, drugs and all this, because these weren't great kids. It's really funny that by being sent to a Christian school is when I really learned how to sin.
How to party.
And so in the 10th grade, I got sent back to my local high school, and I was a completely different person. So my high school was pretty good. I did okay. I wasn't being bullied anymore or any of that. I just didn't fit in anymore. You know, I would spike my hair up in these 4-inch spikes and spray paint it silver, and I didn't look like them or dress like them anymore. And I think I kind of frightened some of them, and they didn't understand my music. And but I loved it. Like, I went to school on senior skip day. I fucking never missed school. Man, I'm sorry, Sid. We need to get your medicine. But I enjoyed school so much that, I didn't even skip senior skip day. I had a great time there.
Do you need to get Sid some medicine real quick?
Nah, man, he'll be all right. Look, it's he's overheated. I could tell he got a little too excited. We went outside, and it's hot as balls here, dude. Georgia is roasting today.
I'm next door, Alabama.
Oh, okay. Well, then, look, yesterday and today have been balls hot, and the humidity has been just fucking nuts. It's like Florida outside. It's crazy.
Can we take a small, brief moment here to thank you, Daniel Franklin, a.k.a. TM, a.k.a. Tennessee Marine Man. Got to show some love for my PTW fam, so Fain. Great guest, great interviewer. And also praise Jesus, but praise old Smokey and Sugarlands, and while you're all at it. That's right.
Amen.
That's right. Thanks, I appreciate it, Daniel, man. You have no idea how much it means. You really, it's like this has been a long, strange trip. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, he's a good guy. Pat and I were, lucky enough to meet him back in February at the big Warski fight in Knoxville, and we got to hang out with him and get to know him on just a regular person level instead of the internet thing. Goodness, Sid. All right. Oh, are you still breathing? Oh, there you go. He's a good guy, man. It was fun hanging out with him, fun having a couple drinks with him. He's a good dude.
Killer. Let's see. So did you go to your class reunion? Any of your reunions?
Fuck yes, dude. And let me recommend, go to your fucking class reunion, especially, because right after high school, I moved away. I know it sounds like moving from, Okaloosa County to Escambia County in Florida. It's only like 50, 60 miles, but it was an eternity. And, I became a nightclub promoter, and, I'm throwing events, all over the place. And I would come back. I enjoy my 20s. So my 10-year reunion, man, I was 28 years old and I was killing it. Having such a great time. And, I came back and fuck. Everybody in my high school class was old, and had kids and everything. Mm-hmm. By my 20th reunion, they, these are grandparents and shit. And so, yeah, man, I fucking love it, dude. We had a great time. And you'll find out that some of the people who were the most, arrogant, the most stuck up, which was the wordage from the verbiage from my youth, turn out to be, life humbles the fuck out of people.
Yeah, it does.
And so all of a sudden, man, it's a lot easier to hang out with the people, and I'll go to my next one too, and I'm looking forward to it. They're gonna be super old then. Holy fuck.
Yeah, no shit. And I have grandkids and shit. It'll blow your mind. It's crazy. This shit goes way too fast. You know, the older you get, the faster it goes. Why is that, man? Anyway.
Dude, it's one of the fucking injustices of life. When you're young and don't really appreciate the time, it moves at this slow, plodding pace. And then as you get older and you wish there was more of it and you're really fucking trying to soak every bit out of it, it just starts accelerating faster and faster. Mm-hmm. And years just whip by. It's fucking nuts. And it's one of the cruel injustices of life. That was in high school, in Crestview, Florida, or right after high school. At a trailer, somebody was throwing a party at a mobile home, and I showed up and really didn't understand booze hall, and they're smoking weed. I didn't understand weed and booze hall. Goodness, Sid, don't die. Hang in there, bro. And this girl that I liked was there, and she had a bottle of peach schnapps. So I was drinking peach schnapps out of the fucking bottle, and next thing I know, I'm hanging out the window of a mobile home in rural Northwest Florida, vomiting profusely. And you know what? It did help. That imagery there, I was like, man, I fucking got to get the fuck out of here. This is not who I want to be in fucking 20 years. Right. Is puking out the window of a mobile home. And actually, I didn't drink or smoke weed for years after that because of the experience. It fucking was terrible. So sick. Holy fuck. I still can't drink schnapps of any sort. Fuck schnapps.
Yeah, it's tequila for me, man. Oh, God.
Oh, I later fucked tequila up for myself, too. I just recently started getting back to where I could drink it again.
That taste is horrible, man. If it stays with you, it's like my cigarettes, water tasted like it. It was horrible. The worst thing ever in the fucking world. It was horrible.
Actually, yeah, I may drink tequila tonight. I need to put that in the freezer. We're gonna live stream later, and maybe I'll have a little tequila.
Cool. I'll be in the chat.
Yeah. Thanks for being one of the mods. I would say it's a tough job, except we don't really ban anybody or do anything.
Yeah, me either. It's like I don't know. I got a mixed feelings. It's like I think that if you I think a block is a bitch, right?
Yeah.
I don't block. I've never blocked anybody. I booted William Stench from a couple of Creem streams because he was pissing Uzi off, and I did it just to placate her. My God.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My mama's happy. Nobody's happy. Just saying. All right. So what about your first concert? What was the first band you ever saw live? And
all right, at an actual concert, not just some local band thing. It was The Cure, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me tour. And man, who was that opening band? I gotta look this up because I can't remember the band that opened for them, but I fucking really loved them. But that was 1987. And I saw them in New Orleans, and it was fucking great. Paul Thompson was playing. He was so fucking drunk that he tripped over a cable, a cord, and fucking just wiped the fuck out. It was such an awesome experience. I was like, man, these guys are fucking awesome. And that was my first concert. So I was, I think I was 18, and something like that. And I was just old enough to go out and drive out there on my own and fucking go to the show. It was it was fucking great. It was fucking great. And
Killer.
sorry you had to leave, Porl. You're awesome.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah. So, what about so what? All right, if you were stranded on an island, you could only take one band's music with you. Who would you take?
Man, that's fucking tough.
But you get the whole catalog, whoever it is.
Ugh. What sucks is my favorite bands don't have big catalogs, dude. Shit would get old fast. Fuck. I know, Sid. God damn, son. Damn, son.
Sounds like he's ripping on a bong there, you know?
Yeah, man. This time of year is really tough for him. Really tough for him.
Is it the breed?
Well, he has a collapsing trachea, which so he's got 3/4 of an inch of his trachea is fully collapsed, which is why he gets that honking sound. And so when it gets hot, he breathes hard, which causes that trachea to rattle, which then makes it start to get inflamed. So it'll start to swell, which of course causes the airway to contract even more. So it exacerbates itself. It just gets worse and worse. So right now we're exacerbated pretty hard. He did have his medicine. Hold on, let me. Okay. All right. Yeah, but I'll give him an anti-inflammatory and stick him in front of the fan and get him cooled off, and he'll be all right.
All right, cool.
He just the fan is running upstairs, but he's not like Johnny. Johnny, I'll guarantee you, is up there in front of that fan right now. But Sid wants to be where I'm at, so even if that means that he's going to be hot, his anxiety of he has this separation anxiety that makes him crazy. So
right.
Don't eat. All right.
Do they tear shit up when you're gone? Does he tear shit up?
No, man, they're good boys. They're
right.
good boys.
Oh, cool. Oh, cool. So they didn't do nothing.
They didn't do nothing. You know what? I'm going to on the band thing.
Yeah.
Well, there's Johnny. Hey, buddy, come here. Johnny is also developing a collapsing trachea now. I was just talking about you. You need to go outside? You want to lick the microphone? You make weird noises, dude. You know what? The band one's so tough, but man, I'm gonna have to go with the Dead Kennedys.
Okay. Yeah. Mine's Tool.
Tool.
Yeah.
It's fine band.
Yeah. Perfect Circle. I don't know if anything Maynard touches, I think I could probably finagle my way into getting all that shit. So
Fair enough.
I'm a big fan. So, all right. What about guilty pleasures, music-wise? Like, I'm a big Poppy fan. That Poppy.
Sure. I like Poppy.
I do too, man.
I like Poppy just because I discovered her videos years ago, and she got to me, man. Titanic Sinclair, dude.
Yes.
That guy's he's an uncelebrated genius.
I agree.
Because I like his ex-girlfriend's music too. The one before Poppy. What was her name?
Mars.
Fuck. Yeah, Mars Volta. No, Mars Volta. Mars. Damn it. I gotta look
Mars.
it up.
It was Mars something though. That's for sure.
Mars Argo.
Argo. That's it.
Yeah. I liked her music too, and I mean, there's one thing that the two of them have in common, and that's Titanic Sinclair. When it comes to music production, to marketing, to creating an image and a style, man, I think it's hard to beat that kid, man.
I would
He's
argue,
really talented.
I would argue that he's a Warhol for this generation.
I wouldn't argue against it, man. He's fucking pretty great, and he's just been a product. You know, we've seen him make this happen on YouTube, on social media, and he's done it, through his girlfriends. And actually, Poppy did a live show at VidCon, and Pat and I missed it.
Oh shit! Oh wow, man!
I really wanted to go to that and just not tell anybody.
I would have gone and told people, man. I like the music. I really do, and I really like the whole everything about it. Right, the atmosphere, the presentation. Have you started watching Dad?
No.
At Dad Feels on Twitter. Yeah, this is new kind of poppy-ish kind of thing, but it's Dad, right?
Huh. I'll check it out.
Dang. Did Daniel throw us another 20, man? He sure as hell did. He said, okay, I got to leave for the party. So since I'm permanently banned on Twitter, I would really appreciate it if you would ask Fain and Fat Pat to accept my friend request on Discord, TM 2070. I think.
Yep, I'll do that.
Maybe 2070. That's a long time away, man. I don't think IRATE's going to be there for that party. Oh man! So all right. So let's get a little serious. So what would you say the worst day of your life was?
You know what's funny is that life. You never know what life's going to do, and so maybe my worst day, the one that pops into my mind immediately, was the day that I shattered my left leg. And man, and I ended up in the I'll short story it because it's a long story, but I ended up in the emergency room and my leg's just flopping around, and the emergency room doctor was like, hey man, look, we're gonna have to amputate this thing. And of course I'm going to fight that. I think anybody would fight it. So the guy was like, look, it's 4:00 in the morning. And so he's like, look, we'll call in. We have a orthopedic surgeon on, there's always an orthopedic surgeon on call. And so they call that one. Well, the orthopedic surgeon shows up, and it's the orthopedic surgeon for the Atlanta Braves. He,
wow.
What he told me later was like, look, I am, in order to keep my license, I have to stay on call for 8 hours per month. He's like, and you happen to shatter your leg during that 8 hours. And I was all on drugs and sitting there, laying there, all fucked up. And he's like, but look, I think I can put your leg back together. He's like, I think I can rebuild your leg. And he was like, it'll be a long surgery. It's going to be really expensive. I was like, roll me in there, dude. They're not cutting my leg off. And, man, the recovery from that was so long and so painful. And, I was at the height of what I would call my popularity in Atlanta as a nightclub promoter. And all of a sudden I found myself where I can't walk, and I was stuck in my apartment, and I had no income. And all those people who loved me at the nightclubs, all my best friends, nobody showed up to visit me. There was nothing. I would take, I remember I would have to put a beach towel in my mouth, and I would pull myself down the hallway to the fridge and knock things out of the fridge onto this beach towel, and then grab the corner of my mouth and drag food back to my fucking room. And I spent 3 months by myself. And it gave me, man, it was really hard. It was really tough. And that fighting with, you're constantly on painkillers, which doesn't help your mental attitude.
Right.
And also the fact that, I thought I was so fucking popular and so fucking cool. And then those people were just gone. When I wasn't at the nightclub, when I was getting people in VIP, when I wasn't handing out drink tickets, when I wasn't putting you on the guest list, suddenly I was of no use. Man, I thought that was the worst thing that could have possibly happened to me. Now I look back and no, maybe it was the best thing. I would have never been on YouTube or any of that, or not in the way I am now. And I likely would have killed myself with drugs and alcohol and my current fucking my behavior. I thought I was immortal, and I don't mean that ironically or anything. Or I thought I was. You know, I smoked while I pumped gas.
Right.
I just thought I was untouchable, and it definitely shortened my shrunk my friend circle, and also made me realize that I needed to make up with a lot of my actual friends who found me to be completely insufferable. If you think I'm insufferable now, you have no fucking idea how bad I was, how impossible to be friends with I was. But so that actually ended up being probably one of the most beneficial things that happened in my life, and made me realize that I need to have something outside of needing to chase popularity to fill this hole that I had in me from my childhood.
Right.
So,
it's so really that solitary time. It's when you like go through something like that, you find out who your friends really are.
yeah.
You really do. So I totally identify with what you're saying, because, yeah. So, all right, describe the best day of your life so far.
Fuck, there's so many great ones. There's so many great ones. I've been really lucky. It's okay. It's okay. Let me think. Man, I've done a lot of shit that I probably didn't deserve to be able to do, and been able to experience some pretty fucking great things. And really, the best day of my life that really comes to mind is really just an afternoon I spent up on a mountain in Oahu, looking out. I was sitting in Oahu above the clouds, overlooking the north side of the island, the side that's opposite from Waikiki and Honolulu. And I just spent a day there, just existing and thinking about things. And that day, I think about that day all the time, about how lucky I was to be able to sit there, to be able to see that. I think Hawaii is the most beautiful place on earth. And being able to travel out there and experience that was a pretty fucking great day. Another great day was the exact opposite, and it was in India. Looking at, they're real close to, God damn it, what's that huge fucking Muslim temple?
Oh, Taj Mahal.
The Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
You see all these pictures of Taj Mahal, but within viewing distance of it is some of the most abject poverty that you've ever seen in your life.
Right.
And I spent a day dressed as so Fain down there in those streets. And those people, first of all, Americans are rare in those, down in the real ghettos.
Right.
In India. But an American that looks like me, man, those people treated me like I was a fucking superstar. Mm-hmm. They were so fucking great. And that was another one, but it was for the exact opposite reason. But it was still making me think how lucky I am and how fortunate I was, because some of them had a real hard life. And I handed out so much fucking money. I spent more money handing out handing it out to kids, poor kids, in the shadow of the Taj Mahal than I did at any other point on that trip. But that was one of those things. It was a human day for me that made me realize, and it also made me more of a globalist. Bah, bah, bah.
Well, it's the stark contrast between the majesty and the beauty and the upkeep on the Taj Mahal compared to this abject poverty. And these people, they had to teach these people not to eat fecal matter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how fucking bad it is.
Not all of them got the lessons.
Yeah.
It's fucked up, man. You haven't seen poverty like that. Once you are faced with those day-to-day living conditions. They're doing it right now.
Yeah.
Man, it really reminds you how lucky we all are to have the privilege of bitching and pissing and moaning on YouTube about politics and dumb shit like we do. We're fucking lucky. We're fucking lucky because we're in a decent enough position that these are the kind of things that we can apply our mental fortitude to.
Yeah, it's like getting doxxed is like a first world problem.
Yeah, first world problem. For sure.
That kind of shit that we get into it about. I feel you, man. So, all right, what's your favorite old school muscle car?
1964 and a half Ford Mustang.
Whoa, the 64 and a half, man.
Yeah.
You know what's even more rare is the 64 and a half Galaxy. Those things are real highly collectible. My favorite is the 68 GTO. Can't beat it.
Fair enough.
Stock, baby. Just saying. All right. So what's your guilty pleasure, like food wise?
Fuck, man.
I mean, you do come across as a bit of a hedonist, but I think you work out.
I don't work out. I fucking eat like shit. Fuck. Like, you're only here once. And really, man, it's tiramisu. I could eat it by the fucking goddamn bucket.
That's right.
What a fucking snotty thing, but I fucking love it, man. A good tiramisu. Yeah, dude. Balls deep in that shit.
What about movie-wise? What's your guilty pleasure there?
Guilty pleasure. See, guilty pleasure has this connotation to it. And I think a lot of people their guilty pleasure would be a rom-com or something like that.
Right.
Just like a guilty pleasure band, one of my favorites of all time, was oh my god, man, I have a real hard time remembering names today. Fuck. Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, Sambor is a great guitar player, man. Yeah. I second that motion.
But with movies, I don't really have that as much. I just have my favorites that I watch a lot.
Yeah, but is there something that's on, like no matter what you're doing, it comes on the TV and you just stop what you're doing?
Yeah, what am I talking about? Yeah, well, I was just watching one. I had tweeted about it. Red Dawn.
Hell yeah.
The original Red Dawn.
Yes.
1986.
Wolverines.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wolverines, man.
Fantastic.
That one.
Yeah, mine's Starship Troopers. Man, it's just like, medic! I just love that shit. It's fun. And everything, man, Verhoeven did I thought was fantastic. Total Recall, RoboCop, fucking Starship Troopers.
Fair enough.
I mean, the dude is something else. And I wish he would make more shit like that now. Go out in style, buddy. Let's see. Okay.
Give us some pulp.
What do you think is a common misconception people have about you?
God damn. Man, there's so many of them. I mean, there's so many of them. I part of.
What's the one that you say that's bullshit? You got to call bullshit, right? When people are making assumptions.
You know, fuck. I'm thinking of the criticisms I get a lot lately, and all of them have a little truth in them. So it's hard to say, to call any of those out. But I think the biggest thing is that I'm not self-aware. I'm aware.
I feel you.
I'm aware. I know what I look like. I know what I sound like. I know what I'm saying, and and even though I do huff my own farts some, it's later as I'm going to bed. I at least try to to keep enough self-awareness that when I'm falling asleep, that I can look back and say, yeah, I huffed my own farts a little bit during that. I went a little too far. And that happens on a fucking, if not daily, then pretty daily basis. I'm also, I'm not as woke as I'd like to be.
Is that necessarily a bad thing, do you think, though?
Let's look at the term woke. I think the evolution, because of how things came through 2015, 2016, and when a lot of big YouTubers took a lot of small YouTubers or college kids, for fuck's sake. When do we start judging society by college kids? What they do. It's never been the case. I know I was in college. Does anybody who's an adult remember who they were in college and still thinks that that's who they are now? No. You're trying to find yourself. But the actual being woke has become a bad term, but I think the basic premise in it of being aware of it, I think what it boils down to is being aware of other people's positions, maybe the lot that they were handed in life, the things that may be going on in their head, and some of the challenges they may face that perhaps you don't, and just being aware of it.
Yeah,
just being aware of it. I think is actually a good thing. I think it's actually a good thing if somebody, if a trans person is going through an issue and wants you to use certain pronouns. I don't have a problem with these things. I don't have a problem.
But do you want the government enforcing having to say certain things to placate people's fifis?
Well, first of all, that's not happening. I know we could talk about Bill C-16, but I don't think we should bother. I really think the bigger problem is the anti-woke. That just paints everything as this being this fucking PC culture issue. PC culture has always been a fucking thing. It will always be a thing, and it may vary from the left and right on who's trying to enforce it, whether it's the Christian conservatives or the progressives. They still do that shit, but
they're both fanatics. And we're talking about fanatical factions.
We all get fanatical about something.
Yeah.
We all have that weakness, that ability to huff our own fucking farts on certain things. They just chose these issues.
That's interesting. I'm going to come back to that whole ego thing, but I do want to ask you. All right, so what job would you think you would be terrible at? This is just one of those soft questions.
Being a cop. Be bad at being a cop.
That's kind of understandable. I think I would suck at it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it would really suck at being a cop.
All right, the life that you have currently in Atlanta. All right, when I was doing my research, I ran across this little thing, and it said, Armada goes to Dallas and does what it has to with Maxim.
Right, Maxim magazine, yeah.
Yeah,
that
right.
was 2005.
Yeah, so that looked like that was a pretty interesting experience.
Yeah, that was about 8 months after I moved to Atlanta, and it was part, I was trying to find things that were over the fucking top. And at the time, Maxim magazine every year did a thing called the Great Maxim Road Trip, where there would be different crews of people, and they would go on a road trip to a certain destination and then film it, take pictures of it, and then everybody would submit to this competition, and then the competitors would be announced in Maxim magazine. The winners and everything, and you got different shit. So that one was, man, I saw it and I was like, man, I want to do this, and I rolled the dice. I took some, I had my marketing plan. I was, 6 months in, and I wanted something big to really hit and cement myself in Atlanta nightclub culture. So I went to started going to people and say, hey, I want to do this. I went to the biggest mainstream nightclub promoter in Atlanta. I was like, look, here's what I want to do. This is the plan. I think we can do this. I want you to be a part of it. That was Max, who ran our Armada magazine. And so then the next thing, it started spiraling out of control. We had a send-off party, which was fucking nuts. And I think that article's still up on armadamagazine.com. I think maybe some of the pictures are broken, but the send-off party, we had Nikki Sixx and Tommy as DJs for the send-off fucking party of this thing, and we left straight from this fucking party on this fucking road trip to Dallas, and it was just insane. Just because we had that Maxim logo on the whole thing. Everywhere opened its doors just to hopefully get some of the marketing.
Yep.
And so we got to do Dallas, Texas in a way that very few people get to do. A VIP, every fucking thing. A limo service donated limos. We only needed one, but we got two. And then as we would go from event to event, from art galleries to nightclubs to all this, we just kept picking up people. And that was a really fucking amazing experience, that 4 days for the Great Maxim road trip. And of course, we ended up in second place, which fucking pisses me off. But you know what? I got my picture in Maxim and a write-up in Maxim magazine, and they said some pretty awesome shit about my ability to drink. And now that's on the record. And it was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool experience. It's just one of those fucking things. I've lived a very lucky life to experience some just fucking nutso shit like that.
Well, and there's a lot of guys that rolled the dice and came up snake eyes too.
Sure,
but not everybody could pull off what I think what you did.
Well, it's confidence game. Mm-hmm. And I'm a confidence man.
That's an interesting way to describe it.
Yeah. Nobody. Very few people refer to themselves as a con man, but.
Well, I mean, we're all full of shit to some degree, and we're
That's
all
right.
like pushing our shit to some degree. I mean, come on. You're either pushing your shit or somebody else's shit, if you know what I'm saying. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is where this sound effect comes in.
He's fluffing you.
Exactly. I love my soundboard, man. Yes, the shit that people say on streams, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So, all right, how did you and Fat Pat meet, man? What did that look like?
Well, I was throwing a party with Armada magazine, and it's actually Max who went on the Maxim road trip with me. He came to me. He's like, "Hey, dude, what we would do is we would do this Saturday night at Fever, which was huge. We get 2,000 or 3,000 people every Saturday night, and we would fly in celebrity guests, and not like A-list celebrities. It was mostly porn stars and Playboy and Playmates and Penthouse models and shit like that. This one weekend, we just didn't have anybody booked. We just couldn't get anybody there. We had already had all the people from the Jersey Shore there. So what can you do? So Max was like, "Hey, dude, I know a touring comedian, and he's got a cool look. And if we just hyped him up, as a touring comedian, we could, make it look. Most people aren't going to fucking know. Who cares?" And that was Pat, and he put him on the flyer and everything. And when Pat showed up at the party, it was, we didn't say too much. I think there's actually a picture of us from that night, because there was a little bit of an issue because I didn't like his look was too, his style was too similar to mine. And like him, I was like, no, I don't like this guy. He's got too much flair. Flair's my thing, bro. But you know what? He turned out to be a pretty cool guy, and we were hosting a party in Pensacola a couple weeks after that, and Max invited him to come down there with me or with us, and it was a party I'd set up, and so he came down, and we would back then during the MySpace days, nightclubs would pay us to travel down. They would get us a hotel room. We would host a party or whatever, and just be, just drink and fucking be asses. That's how I developed this skill that I have to be an ass. And so he went down there with us, and that weekend, the DJ we took down with us actually overdosed on GHB, and it was but there were also these highs where we had a police escort in it, and we're in a limousine, and he's in there like, what the fuck? He just met us, and we're in a limousine, and we're just blowing through the lights because we've got, a police escort to the nightclub. We pull up, and he's like, crazy. What the fuck? And then, 12 hours later, we've got a dead body in a hotel room. He wasn't dead, but he was on his fucking way. We pulled him out of it. But that weekend was a real trial by fire. And he kept his sense of humor during the whole thing. And then all of a sudden, he was just part of the crew. We started hanging out a lot. And so him and I have been friends ever since.
So how did your partnership evolve?
Well, after my second divorce, I had this house, and he had broken up with his girlfriend and was living at his parents. And I said, "Hey, why don't you move in here?" And so he moved in with me. And once we started the YouTube channel, it was just a natural thing. It wasn't something we talked about. We've never talked partnership or whatever. We don't have to, and so. Since we're living together, it just kind of became the thing. Mm-hmm. So,
all right. So was the idea of PTW like there, or did you guys kind of like talk about it, develop it, or did it just kind of evolve? It kind of evolved.
Of course, we talk about things, and we talk about, what we want to do, the videos or whatever. And of course, we ended up, forming an LLC for the company for tax purposes. We're just not flying by the seat of our pants on this thing. So we do talk about it. It's just it didn't have many plans up front to do anything. It's just that as it started to happen, we were like, hey, man, we enjoy doing the YouTube thing. We enjoy having a good time. We really like the community that we have. And so I don't know. We're just we'll keep evolving, and we'll have the conversations as they come up. But it's good to be able to get back to work and do some comedy bits soon. I think, or
the camera.
People get fucking sick of my politics.
The camera and the gimbal really worked well, I think, at VidCon. You want to talk a little bit about this year's VidCon?
Man, VidCon was a lot of fun. It was different. It was different because the shitlords, the anti-SJW community, just wasn't there. I mean, there were a few people that were, used to be a part of it that were there, like Jeff Holiday and Monday Matt. But most of them just weren't there, and so we found ourselves hanging out with the commentary community a lot and going to those events, and then all of a sudden you get this, we're hanging out with a whole different group of creators, and that was really interesting. There was a bunch of really cool people, and a lot of people you don't really expect to meet at a party and get to, like, for example, I met the guy who does Odd Ones Out. I met him at a party, and mainly because he was showing pictures of his Pomeranian, and so me and him sat there. He's got millions of subscribers. I love the Odd Ones Out. I think it's a good channel. It's an entertaining channel, but and so you get to sit there and going through pictures of your Pomeranians, at a party, which is just a weird experience. But it was great.
It's kind of surreal.
Yeah, we got to hang out with some of our favorite people, Leon Lush and Lord Vega, and Chris Raygun and Barbara for U2C, and just a ton of people. There were some that were there that I didn't run into, Jacqueline Glenn and that crew, but there were so many parties and so many events going on that we just didn't really end up at the same places. But it was cool. It was cool, and
there was no Lacey.
Nope, Lacey Green wasn't there. Lacey Green wasn't there. I didn't see her.
That's interesting. Okay, that because that caught my ear the other night when you were talking about that.
Uh-oh.
Chris and Barbara in the same sentence.
Damn it! Did we say that out loud?
Maybe.
Yeah. That caught us off guard.
I put it together. She's a doll, man.
Oh, Lacey Green's the best. She's so much fun and a really genuine person, and no matter what you think about her politics, she's just a good person.
Yeah, and Barbara's she's a doll.
Barbara's great too.
Yeah.
I really enjoy hanging out. I got a lot more time to hang out with Barbara last year, than I did this year. But she's great, really fun.
All right, so is there one particular skit, gag, or stream that you've done with PTW that just kind of put itself together? It's like I've been in a band and I've been I've done art and stuff, and a lot of times some of the best work just puts itself together, and it's almost like you're like an agent of some greater power or something, making this art happen.
Music's a little lends itself to be art more. I don't think I don't consider our what we do art, but there are some pieces that flew together because the one that really comes to mind is the Marina Joyce video where Pat tries to make everybody believe he's been kidnapped so he can get attention on social media. And we had other YouTubers in on it and everything. And that came together in a weekend. It was our first little taste of, and I'm using my fucking quote fingers here, viral lift. I mean, most of our videos at the time got a few hundred fucking views, and then all of a sudden this one gets like 20,000, and that one came together real easy. The script wrote easy, the filming was easy and fun, the editing was easy and fun, and that one really stands out as being like one of those that just came together and was a lot of fun to make, and I personally enjoyed it. I mean, since it was an idea that hit me. The scripts, I was able to just write them because there were scripts for 4 different people, and they just came together, and that one was, I don't know, that one I think was one that just came together easy. That wasn't a struggle. It wasn't like our social repose video, which was just so hard for us to put together. It took a year to finally get the final product, and lots of reshoots and lots of exhausting days and rewrites and all that. That was a real struggle, whereas the Marina Joyce video just happened, and that was a lot of fun, and we really enjoyed it.
Sweet. I love it. I love it when shit like that happens. It's just really special. It's almost magical. Let's see. Okay. Who would you say? All right, damn, we're getting close to the end, dude. It's been almost an hour and a half. Can you fucking believe that shit? Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, you're awesome.
What?
This is hey, look. Here's the deal with the politics stuff, man. It's like I grew up. I never knew how my fucking parents voted until I was like 25 or 26 years old. Because I would ask them when I was a kid, they would say it's none of your business. What's important is that you listen, you read, and make up your mind. And and it's like we're so fucking polarized right now. But I think that's part of the American thing, man. I think we do this shit like on a, like what you were talking about last night. It's like a rubber band. Your stretches and then it comes back together, right? And I think right now we're in one of those, stressful situations. It's like it's almost like plate tectonics. It's, these things are rubbing against each other, and there's some earthquakes, and shit.
And I don't help with that kind of situation either. I like to toss grenades into an a crowded room, and I like to poke people on Twitter. I'm part of the problem with the discourse, and I know it.
But I think that you're a caricature of that. I think that there's a part of you that sees what's going on and says, hold on, double standards are bullshit no matter whose side it's on, Right. And I see you calling out double standards a lot. That's really what I see.
I do that.
Yeah, it just comes from, a different perspective than a lot of people. And a lot of people take that shit personally, man. And it's like, and you get a little rambunctious with it. I don't know. I can handle that kind of shit, It's like, if you look at the chat, there's like arguing and stuff going on. It's like, and we really hadn't been talking about politics, guys. We've been talking about Fain. He's a great guy,
Yeah, well, look, a lot of people aren't going to see that, or they see. Look, and I get why you would dislike me, and I've seen some of the comments roll past. I'm an Antifa apologist.
We may have the Thriller in Knoxville Part 2. Coming up.
Who?
It looks like Daniel Franklin has challenged Kumara to come on down and get a good old fashioned Tennessee ass whooping. But you know what I'm saying? I got love for everybody here. All right, y'all be nice to each other. It's just this time is so goddamn short.
It is.
I just found out my mom's got cancer of the biliary tree. Which is up inside of her liver and shit.
Yeah,
the bile duct and all that. And we're gonna fight it. And I'm in a good place with it, but it still sucks, man.
Yeah, it does suck. It does suck. I think about my parents a lot. Just recently was the first time I really looked at them and realized, oh my God, my parents they're old. Fuck.
Man, it almost happened overnight with my dad.
Yeah. I think it had to have been that I've my dad with the same eyes I looked at him when I was a kid. And it wasn't until he started having some problems moving around and things that all of a sudden it just dawned on me. And it wasn't that long ago that, it just dawned on me that, man, he's not going to be here forever. My parents are getting pretty old. I mean, they had me. I'm not a fucking spring chicken. So, man, so I can relate, but, I guess all we could look, it's part of life. And a lot of people lost their parent. I'm lucky to have had my parents, with me, my whole life. And, they stayed together. They've, they're still married. Not a lot of people get that. A lot of people lose parents when they're young, or you lose one, or, and have to go through these things. I've been lucky that I haven't, and that I've had as much time with my parents as I have, and I really want to try to spend the next few years trying to spend more time with them and get to know them better as adults. And so, man, it really sucks about your mother, but it does make you aware of the time you've got left, and just take advantage of that time you've got with her. And it's all you can do. It's all you can do is people, and fight it, of course. But
exactly. So we touched briefly on VidCon, but what are like 7 hot takes, maybe cutting edge shit, or something that was talked about that you haven't seen addressed recently?
Man, you know what? There really isn't that much. This one wasn't so controversial, and there weren't, people getting outraged about about the panels, or there wasn't politics. As a matter of fact, I made a political tweet. I think it was Saturday night or Friday night at VidCon, and Chris Raygun, messaged or tweeted back at me. I was like, "Hey, man, your convention has nothing to do with this shit. Why don't you fucking cool your tits? Chill the fuck out."
Dude, go ahead.
So that's what I'm talking. Like, where a couple years ago it was all politics, dude, all political, it was the garbage people, fucking VidCon, and here we're only 2 years removed. And Chris Raygun is telling me to lay off the politics at VidCon. What the fuck?
Oh, 1 second. Tanya Ain't Nice donated $5. Cool stream and interview. Loved it. Well, thanks.
Thanks, Toya.
Toya? Yeah, Toya. I said Tanya. I'm sorry, Toya. I talk to you all the time in Brian's server. Well, I don't know what the fuck. But that was sweet. Thank you.
She's a good egg.
What about, I know you went up there and you guys kind of met up with Weibo Jones and Some Dumb American.
Weibo's a lightweight. Dude, fucking lightweight, man. Get a couple drinks in her. Friday, Weibo got drunk super easy, and then, poor SDA had heat stroke. They had a tough Friday night getting it started. But we all, those two, and then me and Pat, we went out Saturday night, and just the 4 of us, and had a nice dinner, and got some drinks, and got to hang out with those girls a little bit. And man, they're just good people. I mean, I hang out with SDA quite a bit, because she's from here in Atlanta, but Weibo's a good person. She's a good person, and so it was fun to hang out with her a little bit. We could have gone in, because Friday night we did this huge party. We met all these YouTubers. We did all the thing, and then we left at just the right time before we became too annoying. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Our sense of humor and us being loud. Me and Pat are louder than everyone, and when we're at a party, we we will suck the air out of the fucking room, and so you have to know when to leave before people get sick of that shit. You know, while they're laughing at your jokes, and they, you know, and it's that you know, be excellent in their presence, and then be gone before, you know, you wear out your welcome, or before anyone starts to get tired of it.
Right, or leave them wanting more, you know?
Yeah, plus we were at Billy the Fridge's house, and so many fucking people were showing up. The place was getting trashed, and I was like, man, I don't want to be remembered as being part of the fucking problem here, dude. Let's be a part of the fucking solution. And so Saturday, instead of going, a lot of people were going back over there. So Saturday we just decided, you know what, we'll go to dinner with Weibo and SDA and get a good night's sleep. We, you know, we did VidCon real hard on Friday, and Saturday, we got to see some people and say goodbye during the day and have some drinks with quite a few people, and decided we'd just chill Saturday night and ride out of there. And man, it was a good experience. And there's just, man, a lot of great people. You know, some of my favorites were like Elvis the Alien. Man, that guy is a fucking good dude. He's nice to the point of it's a problem. But he's funny, and it was good to hang out with him. And I appreciated that the time we had to chat. And of course, man, well, you know what? There's just too many. This year we met more, you know, larger YouTubers than we've ever met, and a lot of them turned out to be great. So it was just it was a good time. But we chilled out on Saturday and went home and let everybody else, you know, rock it out hard.
All right, another donation came from Optic Decay. Optic, or
Good dude.
Yes.
Good dude.
The quote that goes with it is, "When are those shirts coming out, Fain?" LOL.
No, shortly. Actually, I mentioned it.
Good image. Good interview gimmick. All right.
Look, that last thing that you did, the Pat piece. There's a couple things I want to get it on, but the text treatment won't work right. Do you have a version of it without the text? If not, I can make it work by cropping, but without text or being able to move that treatment or having that treatment layered would help. There you go, Optic, and I'll have those out this week.
Sweet.
There's a couple of things, and I'm also going to do more stuff with the Grumpy Pat design. He's really talented. He's done like 3 designs for us that I need to get up on a bunch of products. You have to do the products kind of, if you wanted to do right, you got to kind of do them one at a time with to really get the best out of them. So anyway, I do want to get those up because it's really great stuff he gave us. Really cool, man. He's a very talented dude. And his morning show is pretty cool too.
I love the zombie werewolf pillow, man.
Oh man, that one's really great. That was really great. I love that design. That was a commission that Pat got years ago, and we were able to piece it together on some cool products. The pillow and the skateboard are great.
Sweet. I thought that Optic had done that, but I guess I'm wrong.
No, he didn't do that one. He didn't do that one. That one is a guy in Denver.
Yeah.
Optic certainly could. I don't think there's anything he couldn't draw.
Yeah.
There's really,
I
really
like
talented.
his EC type comic art is really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
So, all right, who would you say is a criminally undersubbed YouTuber in what you consider this corner of the internet?
Wow. That's tough. Lately I haven't been as engaged with political YouTube as much. And usually I like creators who, some of my favorite one, like I thought Very Nearly Viral, but it looks like they've gone very nearly dead. They're deader than me and Pat. But that style where you're making doing a little bit of production, but it's around a joke. And then the thing is, a lot of the people who I really enjoyed have been lucky enough to start taking off, and I haven't spent the time I need to go discover some of the new small channels, and I probably need to go ahead and do that. And start discovering some of the, you know, some more new small channels that are coming out. Since a lot of the people I'm subscribed to are six figures and up, and then I get caught up in a lot of watching the investment YouTubers and technical analysis YouTubers and shit like that. There were a lot of YouTubers, here, who's probably kind of undersubbed for that does this is the Surfs. I enjoy their content, but they're starting to catch on now. So, I think they've got like around 20 or 30,000 now. So, that they've gained mostly in the last few months. Hold on, Pat's calling. Let me put him on speakerphone. Hey, man.
Hi, man.
Hey, man. I'm on IRATE Prostate's channel streaming right now. So I'll call you
Sounds
back.
Gay. Y'all just blowing each other off?
Pretty much.
No. Well, dicks are gone.
So
We'll irrigate his prostate. He could become irate. He's like a Dr. Seuss book for like a proctologist. Okay.
all right, I'll call you back in a few. We're about to wrap this thing up, and so we can figure out how the fuck we're going to do our stream tonight.
I have no idea. That's why I wanted to call, because this will be a weird ballet for us.
Yeah. All right, I'll have to tell him because he hung up on me. Pat doesn't say goodbye, by the way. He just hangs up. When he's done saying what I need to say, even if you're responding, sometimes he'll just hang up on you mid-sentence. It's a really weird fucking thing. It annoys the shit out of me. Huh? Yeah, right here in Atlanta. Yeah, dude, that's just how he is, man. He just, once he's done talking, fuck this, dude. It's over. He'll move out. It's annoying.
It's like I was hearing a phone ring. I was like, "What the fuck?" And my ringer should have been off, so I apologize for that sound. All right, so who's a YouTuber you think is way overhyped? You don't get it.
Temple. Temple. It's easily Temple.
That's interesting.
Yeah, well, it's like people still call him a journalist, even though he's just a pundit now. He doesn't go out and do journalism. Even Andy No, is out there doing journalism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether you agree with his journalism or not, or his methodology or whatever, he's out there fucking doing journalism.
Yeah, he's not reading
Tim
articles.
Pool sits in his fucking apartment, reads mainstream news,
And calls himself a journalist.
and then interprets in the least genuine way possible. So yeah, there you go. But I think that's been pretty obvious. I give him a lot of shit. So I think everybody knows. Yeah, that I don't get the Tim Pool fucking thing.
Yeah. All right. So what's coming up? You guys are going to be streaming tonight?
Yep. We'll be streaming tonight on Poison the Well Live. We got a lot we want to talk about.
What time you got going?
I don't know. I'm going to call Pat back, but probably it'll be about 8:30 is what I would guess.
7:30 Central, 5:30 Pacific.
That's right. That'll give me time to go upstairs, feed the dogs, and Pat and I come up with how we're going to do it because he's got his baby tonight. So he'll be at his house, and I've got to figure out how to arrange the stream so that we can go through some of these things and it be more like we're sitting beside each other. It's always tough when he's not sitting here. I mean, but so we got to figure out how to bridge this 4-mile gap between us and be able to live stream from 2 locations. So we got to figure that all out here pretty quick.
We have the technology. We can rebuild it. Show your channel. I've got links in the description.
That's it. Look, the main thing is Poison the Well, the main channel. back to life here and start doing more skit and production style stuff.
Right. So you do your production stuff on Poisoning the Well, and then Poisoning the Well Live is your stream channel.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we do on our streams, and then we each have individual channels, but put much on right now. I may start putting more of my politics over there, but really, we do have a lot covered. Some more current year Space Odysseys under. We've already got some of it filmed and everything. That'll be coming soon. We got a couple scripts written for sketches that'll be filmed over the next few weeks, and so we'll be doing that.
Sweet. Well, shoot, man, we're at the end of the line here. It's amazing.
Yep, that was the last of my my Jack and Coke. So perfect timing.
Nice. Well, man, you've been a fantastic guest. I did want you to hang
thank you.
while we're going out. I did want to ask you a couple of things, and
Sure.
And on that note, people, this time next week I will be talking to the Unapologetic Leaf. Yeah, you heard it here. That's right. Of course, Thursday, the Butter Baron, also known as Big Fat Brian, and I do hot takes. I can't remember what it is from Netflix, but it will definitely be assholes when we talk about it. And Creem Stream 91. Holy shit. It's rolling, guys. And on that note, say bye, Fain.
See everybody, and you know what? I see a lot of names in this chat that I'll see in a couple hours.
That's right. See you in a couple hours. That's right. This is IRATE Prostate saying I'm out again, and I'll see y'all same bat time, same bat channel, as they say. Y'all have a great week, and on that note, this is IRATE.
Every week on Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern, the Creem Stream, the weekly world news for YouTube. Sundays, 5 p.m. Eastern, the Ice Cream Interviews, fascinating people, fascinating people. Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, Hot Takes with the Butter Baron, watching horrible shit so you don't have to. Subscribe to IRATE Prostate now.